Remember, my excellent drivers, you are responsible for the safe use of your vehicle and abiding by the state or territory rules that you are driving in, and that, of course, includes mobile phone usage.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Art of Confident Driving. I hope you're all doing really well today. And I got such a good response from last episode, which was road rules we may not have known about, that I'm going to do another one. So let's see how many of these you know. Alrighty, so we're going to talk about one of the easiest ones to understand, and that is windows down, because we're in Australia. So when we park our car, are we allowed to crack the windows? So the answer in most states is yes. Tasmania, they don't. They're not allowing you to get the windows down at all. Probably because they're lovely and cool and chilled down there. But certainly up here in subtropical Gold Coast, we would like to crack those windows to let that heat out a little bit. So you will need to check your state regulations on this, because some of them say 5 centimetres, some of them say 3 centimetres. But look, what I would recommend is having it down just enough so that you definitely can't pop your fingers through. And that's the idea. We don't particularly want to have our car broken into while we're away. So that's why we can have our windows down just a little fraction, just to allow that heat to get out. And I do recommend that, especially, on the really boiling hot days. That way your car won't be quite as hot as it would be if the windows were all the way up. But again, do check your state regulations. All right, let's talk about parking in your own driveway. I get a lot of people saying, but I'm parking in my own driveway, I can do what I want. Not really, guys. So the area between your letterbox and the road, that actually belongs to your local council. That's not our property, even though we have to take care of it and mow and all those sort of things. But that is not actually our property, and we are not allowed to park in that area. So you'll see the photo I've used for this episode. Somebody has parked across the driveway, which didn't allow that little girl on the bike to go through, meaning the little girl had to go onto the road to get around the car. That's not fair. That's not right. So no, we're not allowed to park in the driveway. That's one of the reasons, obviously, for the footpath and pedestrians. The other reason is if an emergency vehicle needs to use that. So whether they're going into the property, and yes, even if it's your property, you wouldn't particularly want them to have to park halfway up the road to come back and save you. So whether it's for you in that property who needs the emergency service, or whether they need to do a 3-point turn in your property, you don't want to slow down those emergency vehicles. Okay, so please, no parking in your own driveway. Park in the property itself, but not across the footpath. All right, let's talk about thongs. Thongs, jandals, flip-flops, whatever you want to call them. I often get asked, am I allowed to wear those to drive? Again, please check your state or territory road rules, but most states do allow you to wear thongs. They allow you to wear bare feet. They allow you to wear pretty much anything you want. However, me personally, having seen thousands of students get into my car and drive with various shoes, believe me when I say there's reasons we don't particularly like thongs. There's reasons we don't particularly like bare feet. So I'll quickly go through those now. With thongs, the thong can actually get caught in the pedals. It's rare, but it can happen, and you wouldn't particularly want it to happen to you. So I don't recommend wearing thongs. I know a lot of people do, but please be mindful that that part of the thong could get caught on one of the pedals. And if it does, just please pull your foot out and use the pedal properly, okay? Bare feet. I'm not a fan of bare feet, and here's why. If you choose to start using your bare feet to use the pedals when you first learn to drive, you're pretty much saying, okay, I'm going to be doing that till I'm 80, which is a bit crazy, isn't it? You don't particularly want to be driving around in bare feet when you're 80. So that's one reason. Another reason, and this is probably the main reason, is our foot isn't stable. We have a tendency to curl our toes when we use the pedals like that. So we're not getting a true feeling of what is the pedal doing. It's like, what is our toe doing? Yeah, I'm not a monster fan of bare feet. I've had maybe 2% of drivers in my car who absolutely have to have bare feet. But most other people, you'll get used to the shoe. You really will. And eventually, like me, you'll get used to driving in any shoe. So I could drive in stilettos, you name it, I could drive it. And that's kind of what you want to do, don't you? You don't want to be forcing yourself to get into a pair of driving shoes or, of course, take your shoes off just to be able to drive. Next one, opening car doors. Now, this is an interesting one because where I was from in Sydney, you'd never see that happen. You wouldn't see people just flinging open the doors because somebody could come along and collect you. I've noticed a lot of people here in Queensland, or maybe it's happening everywhere. I honestly don't know. I haven't driven in Sydney for a while. Maybe they are doing it down there just because we're always in such a rush. But they're just flinging open doors, right? So I want you to be aware that if you are opening the door of a vehicle, you are required to check and make sure that you're not going to disturb any other road user. It's actually a road rule. It says a person must not cause hazard to any person or vehicle by opening a door of a vehicle or leaving a door of a vehicle open. So I see a lot of people when they're having a chat with their neighbours, they've got their car door open, forcing other road users to go to the other side of the road just to get around it. Now, that's crazy. Number one, don't put yourself in danger, okay? Close the door, walk around to the side and have a chat with your neighbour. Don't leave the door open, alrighty? So, yeah, please check your mirrors before opening your door. There could be another car. There could be a cyclist. There could even be a pedestrian if you're opening the door on the left. So please be very careful. All right, boot open. Am I allowed to drive around with my boot open because I've just gone to Bunnings and bought something big, long and bulky? Well, look, yes. Having said that, you are allowed to keep the boot open, but your load must be properly secured. It must be placed in a way that doesn't cause the vehicle to be unstable. And it must also not be in a way that is likely to injure a person, obstruct the path of other drivers or pedestrians, or damage a vehicle, right? So if this thing is sticking out 3 meters, that is a monster danger. You should have got the delivery drivers, okay? They should be doing the job for you, not popping it out the back of the car. So I guess it depends. Let's use a bit of common sense here. If it's only a little bit, okay, and try and strap the boot down with your Rocky straps if you can, so it's not flopping about. But it's up to you as the driver to make sure that not only is your load safe, but it's not going to interfere with anybody else. This last one makes me giggle. Things hanging down from the rear view mirror. I once saw one at a shopping centre. A lady had, you guys know what dream catchers are, right? They're those pretty woven things with feathers down the bottom. Dream catchers. Now, where do you think you should normally see a dream catcher? Yeah, you go in a bedroom where it's meant to be used. So this woman had a monster, and I mean it was 30 centimetres wide, dream catcher, hanging down from the rear view mirror. Now, she could actually easily be charged for that, simply because it is obstructing her view. So anything hanging down from that rear view mirror can be obstructing your view. I see a lot of people driving around with those pretty smellies on there. Look, they can be hung anywhere in the car. It doesn't need to be straight in front of your face. You never know what you might miss if something is hanging down from that rear view mirror. So please make sure nothing is there. Also, car mobile phone holders. I see sometimes they're smack in front of the driver's face. Again, this is meant to be off to the side. You're not meant to be looking at it anyway, are you? So it's meant to be off to the side, and I mean well off to the side. The road rules do actually tell you about this. The driver must have an unobstructed view of the road ahead. To achieve this, the driver should not have anything significant in the arc of the windscreen wipers. Driving a vehicle without a clear view in all directions could result in and in this case Queensland, $274 fine. So I'm very big on please don't have things in the driver's line of view. L plates, P plates, any plates should be up top left, above your passenger's window and straight up the very top. I don't particularly like them down low. Again, it could obstruct the view. There could be something there that you may not see because that's in the way. And that's just crazy. If all you have to do is put the P plate up the top, do it. Same with cameras, dash cameras. I've got one. I've got a front and a rear. And it's so well hidden behind my rear view mirror that most of my students aren't even aware it's there. So that's my point, guys. If you're going to have things on your front windscreen, keep them well away from your view. You need to have a really clear view of what's around you. I know it seems obvious, but please, know what's around you first. All right, guys, so that's part 2. I may end up doing a part 3. We'll see. But please, my main thing is be aware of your road rules. You don't need to know every single one because there are some that you will never use. But you need to be aware of all of the basic ones. So go check out the road rules from your state or territory. And while you're doing it, put them into practice. Hey? All right, go on out there. Practice. Be good, be safe, be confident. Have a good time. See ya. And my full driving lessons are available on Apple Podcasts and the artofconfidentdriving.com website, where you will get access to instructional videos. Remember to relax and enjoy the drive. See you next time.